This topic was top of mind, though, on this week's Influencers. Yahoo Finance editor-in-chief Andy Serwer sat down with the one and only Mark Cuban, and the billionaire businessman weighs in on how he would address trade tensions with China. Take a listen.
Chinese companies listed on American exchanges have a market cap of more than $1.4 trillion. That's a lot of leverage right there. They're raising money via IPOs, something we can't do in China. I'd shut down all Chinese IPOs. That's the first step. And given his propensity for using Twitter and just as a kind of throwing warning shots, I would throw out there that we might put a halt on the trading of Chinese listed stocks in the United States. Now, there are American shareholders, but the reality is that long-term, the value of the company is the value of the company, but a trading halt would certainly create a lot of disruption for those Chinese companies. And I don't think it's untoward at all to reconsider, treating Chinese companies like they do ours.
So there you go. I mean, we've heard a lot of talk about tightening these screws in ways that might not impact the U.S. consumer.
Right.
Locking out Chinese IPOs would be one of those things. I mean, like Luckin Coffee, for example. Those are in China. There are no Luckin Coffee places here. So, I mean, what do you make of that kind of outside of just tariffs? Other things that can be done. I guess Huawei could technically be part of that camp as well. Things that might be different.
Right. Well, again, right now we have so many issues going on in this country: healthcare, wage stagnation. The disruption on Wall Street is a totally unneeded, just an unneeded pain that we don't right now need in this country. And I think people on Wall Street would agree with that.
I also think that there's a gross underestimation of how much the Chinese are willing to deal with economic pain in order to present a more aggressive stance when it comes to the negotiations. Here's the problem, right? Trump needs a deal. It's good for him going into 2020. Dealing aggressively with the Chinese has broad bipartisan support, right? So the more he digs in his heels, the better it is for him politically, he thinks. The same is also true, however, for the Chinese. And that's a very difficult position to get in, where both sides are saying, well, if I dig in my heels, my people will like it better. And it doesn't do well when you have a side that says, okay, well, you know what, we'll suffer. We'll suffer for a bit, and we can, in order to get our side.
Well, what's interesting is we just heard from Mark Cuban, and it sounded political. He's weighing in on a political problem right now. Neither one of you really perked up at that. Mark Cuban potentially 2020. People have been talking about that.
I doubt it. No.
I think Mark Cuban.
No one got excited.
Oh, God, please don't.
I got excited for a second.
No, I did
think
not.
Cuban just has to look at the cars in his garage and just be like, you know what, I'm good for a minute. I don't need to be dealing with all that.
Yeah, well, we will. You have a chance, if you're excited like me, you can catch the full episode of Influencers tonight at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on Yahoo Finance. But